Commander Vexar stood before the Galactic War Council. His once proud battle armor now a patchwork of repairs and burn marks. Of the 50,000 ships in the glorious armada sent to conquer Earth, only his damaged cruiser had returned. You expect us to believe, High Admiral Korthax sneered, that a single primitive world destroyed our greatest fleet? Not primitive, Vexar's voice shook. They just let us think they were. The council chamber filled with dismissive clicks and whistles from a dozen species. Tell us again, Korthax commanded, how these humans defeated plasma cannons and antimatter bombs. Vexar activated his holographic recorder. First, they didn't try to match our technology. When we demanded surrender, they said, "Come and take it." We thought it was bravado. The recording showed the fleet approaching Earth. Everything seemed normal until they threw rocks at us, Vexar said quietly. Accelerated chunks of metal at 20% light speed. No energy signatures, no complex technology. Just physics. We lost 1,000 ships before we knew we were under attack. Surely your shields are designed for energy weapons, not kinetic strikes from objects massing several tons. It was like using a force field to stop a mountain. The hologram continued, ships exploding soundlessly as tungsten rods punched through their hulls like tissue paper. We adapted, Vexar continued, moved closer to eliminate their response time. That's when we learned about their biology. The recording shifted to ground combat. Alien warriors in power armor facing human soldiers. Our intelligence said humans were fragile. No natural weapons, thin skin, average strength. We didn't know they were persistence predators. They don't stop. Ever. The council watched as human forces fell back, regrouped, attacked from new angles. When aliens held a position, humans simply surrounded it and waited. No food. No water. No sleep. They have a saying. Vexar's mandibles clicked nervously. We can do this all day. They mean it literally. Their soldiers stayed combat effective for cycles without rest. When we gassed them, they put on masks and kept fighting. When we burned their cities, they fought from the ashes. When we killed their leaders, the subordinates took command without hesitation. Surely their civilians fled? Vexar laughed bitterly. Their civilians were worse. Children made improvised explosives in educational facilities they call schools. Elderly humans shared instructions for guerrilla warfare on their information networks. Artists drew propaganda. Musicians wrote battle songs. Even their medical personnel carried weapons. He switched to another recording. But the worst was their pattern recognition. Look, the hologram showed a tactical display. First engagement, we won easily. Second, they lasted longer. Third, they found weaknesses. By the 10th, they were predicting our moves. They don't just learn. They adapt faster than any species we've encountered. It's like fighting an immune system that gets stronger with every infection. High Admiral Korthax stood. Preposterous. You're saying farmers and primitives defeated the glorious armada. No, Vexar said. I'm saying we invaded a world where every single inhabitant is a potential warrior, where their entire history is just practice for killing things stronger than them, where they've spent thousands of years perfecting the art of war against themselves. He brought up one final image. Earth, blue and green and deceptively peaceful. They have a game called chess. We analyzed it, thinking it would reveal their strategic thinking. It's played on a board with 64 squares. Minimal pieces. Simple rules. We laughed at its primitiveness. Vexar paused. Then we learned they've been playing it for 1,500 years. They have machines that can calculate millions of moves per second, and their greatest players still win through intuition. They don't just think about war, they entertain themselves with it. They teach it to their young as recreation. The council remained silent. Send another fleet if you wish, Vexar said, turning to leave. But know this, humans don't conquer worlds. They wait for worlds to come to them. And when you arrive at Earth thinking you're the predator. He looked back one final time. You discover you're just playing another game of chess. And they've been practicing for millennia. 6 months later, when the Second Glorious Armada failed to return a single ship, the Galactic War Council quietly reclassified Earth from conquest target to existential hazard, do not approach. Vexar's warnings were finally believed. But it was already too late for 100,000 ships.